Imagine this. You're at a party, mingling with friends, when someone walks in. You don't know them, but suddenly, there's a spark, a feeling that catches you off guard. It's not just their looks or the way they smile. It's something deeper, something that pulls you in, almost without you realizing it. Now, why does that happen? What is it about certain people that draws us in and makes our hearts race, while others leave us feeling indifferent? Hey, I'm Professor Alistair Hawthorne, and today we're going to uncover one of the most fascinating aspects of being human, the science of attraction. You might think you know what makes us fall in love. Looks, charm, maybe shared interests. But trust me, there's a whole lot more going on behind the scenes. Some of it's psychological, some of it's biological, and some of it's a bit of a mystery. But we're going to dive deep into those hidden forces that make our hearts skip a beat. It's almost like a magic trick, isn't it? You meet someone, and suddenly, there's this inexplicable connection. It can feel like the universe is conspiring to make you fall in love. But here's the kicker. While love often feels like magic, there's a whole lot of science behind it. So let's break it down, piece by piece, and figure out what's really happening when we fall for someone. The brain's love potion. Chemistry in action. Let's start with something simple. Have you ever felt like you just clicked with someone the first time you met them? It's not just in your head. It's chemistry, literally. And when I say chemistry, I'm talking about the cocktail of neurotransmitters and hormones that flood your brain when you feel attracted to someone. The first one I want to talk about is dopamine. It's the feel-good chemical that floods your brain when something exciting or pleasurable happens. Ever felt that rush of excitement when you're texting someone you like or when they walk into the room? That's dopamine working its magic. It's that feeling of excitement, that thrill that comes from anticipating something good. It's your brain's way of rewarding you for doing something that might lead to pleasure or happiness. But dopamine doesn't work alone. It teams up with norepinephrine, which is often called the stress hormone. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would stress be involved in love? But think about it. When you're falling for someone, your heart races. Your palms might sweat a little, and you start feeling jittery. That's norepinephrine at play. It heightens your senses, makes everything feel more intense. So while dopamine gives you that feeling of pleasure and anticipation, norepinephrine cranks up the emotional intensity, making everything seem a little more exciting, a little more electric. And then there's oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This is the hormone that's really responsible for making us feel connected to others. It's the reason why hugging someone feels so good, why the closeness you feel with someone can turn into something deeper. When you start forming an emotional connection with someone, oxytocin is at work, helping to strengthen that bond. It's the reason why couples who hug, touch, or spend time together in close proximity often feel more attached. It's also the hormone responsible for that sense of trust and intimacy that builds over time in relationships. Now, you might be wondering, do these chemicals explain everything? The short answer is no, but they're definitely a big part of why we feel drawn to certain people. They shape the way we experience attraction and intimacy, and they help explain why love feels so magical, even though it's deeply rooted in biology. The role of evolution, why we're wired to fall in love. Okay, so we know there's chemistry involved, but there's also a deeper evolutionary reason why we're wired to feel attracted to others. Our brains have evolved to prioritize certain traits that signal a good mate, and those traits are deeply embedded in our biology. Think about this. From an evolutionary standpoint, the goal of attraction is simple: to find a mate who can help us reproduce and ensure the survival of our species. Sounds pretty primal, right? Well, that's because it is. We're wired to seek out traits that signal good health, genetic fitness, and the ability to care for offspring. This is why we tend to be attracted to certain physical traits, like facial symmetry or clear skin. These traits are often associated with good health, which makes them subconsciously more appealing. But attraction isn't just about looks. It's also about behaviors. For instance, We're wired to find confidence and charisma attractive because they signal strength and social status, qualities that were important in our evolutionary past. Think back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. A confident, charismatic partner would have been more likely to provide protection, resources, and security. Even today, those traits can still trigger attraction, even if we don't consciously recognize why. And here's another interesting thing to consider: the role of scent. Our sense of smell plays a huge part in attraction, often without us even realizing it. You know how sometimes you catch a whiff of someone's scent and it just feels right? That's because we're also wired to be attracted to specific pheromones, chemicals that we subconsciously release to signal our genetic compatibility. Research has shown that people are often drawn to others with different immune system markers, which would result in stronger, healthier offspring. And those markers are often detected through scent. The power of familiarity, why we fall for what we know. But there's more to attraction than just biology and chemistry. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you can be really attracted to someone who reminds you of someone from your past? Maybe they have the same smile as an old friend, or share similar interests with someone you once dated. This might seem like a coincidence, but there's actually a psychological reason behind it: the mere exposure effect. The mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomenon that says the more we're exposed to something or someone, the more we tend to like them. This is why familiarity can breed attraction. When we meet someone who reminds us of a positive experience, or someone we felt a connection with before, we're more likely to feel that spark because our brains are wired to seek out what's familiar and comfortable. This doesn't mean we're only attracted to people who are carbon copies of our exes or childhood friends, but it does mean that certain familiar traits, whether it's a personality type, a specific sense of humor, or even a shared interest, can make someone feel more comfortable and appealing. Emotional connection, the role of vulnerability and shared experiences. While chemistry and evolution play a big role in who we're attracted to, emotional connection is what really takes things to the next level. Have you ever experienced that moment when you're talking to someone and it feels like time stops? It's not just about surface-level attraction anymore. There's something deeper happening, an emotional connection that makes everything feel more intense and real. When we open up to someone, share our fears, our dreams, our hopes, it creates a sense of vulnerability. And vulnerability, believe it or not, is one of the keys to building emotional attraction. In fact, some of the strongest connections happen when two people share their authentic selves with each other, revealing their true emotions and struggles. This vulnerability fosters trust, intimacy, and a deeper sense of connection. Think about the moments you've had with close friends or partners where you've shared something personal or intimate. Maybe you opened up about a past heartbreak or your childhood dreams. These moments create a bond that goes beyond physical attraction. Emotional connection is what turns a fling into a lasting relationship. The impact of timing, why the right moment matters. Now, this one's often overlooked, but timing plays a huge role in attraction. You can meet someone who checks all the boxes: looks, personality, shared interests. But if the timing isn't right, it may not go anywhere. That's because attraction isn't just about who you're with. It's also about where you are in life. Are you ready for a relationship? Are you emotionally available? The right timing can make all the difference. You might meet someone at a point in your life when you're not looking for anything serious, or perhaps you're going through a difficult time and can't fully connect with someone emotionally. But when you're in the right mindset, when you're open to love and connection, attraction can flourish in ways you never expected. Attraction is more than meets the eye. So, what have we learned? Attraction is far more complex than just looks or chemistry. It's a combination of biology, psychology, timing, and emotional connection that creates the perfect storm of feelings that we call love. The next time you find yourself falling for someone, remember that it's not just a fluke or a coincidence. It's the result of deep, hidden forces working their magic. And here's the best part. Understanding the science behind attraction can help you navigate relationships in a more meaningful way. Whether you're looking for love or trying to understand the connections you already have, the science of attraction gives us a clearer picture of why we feel the way we do. It's a reminder that, even in matters of the heart, there's more than meets the eye. So we've touched on some of the big players in the science of attraction. The brain chemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, and oxytocin, the way evolution has shaped our preferences, and the power of familiarity and emotional connection. But there's so much more to explore in this fascinating world of attraction. So let's dive deeper into some of the subtler but equally important factors that drive us to fall in love. Now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, so chemistry and biology play a huge part in attraction. But what about the more intangible stuff? The things we can't quite explain, but we still feel so strongly? Oh, I hear you. It's the part of attraction that feels like magic, isn't it? The moments when you feel an undeniable pull towards someone, even though you can't put your finger on why exactly. It's that click, that instant connection that goes beyond just surface-level attraction. Let's talk about that. The mystery of the unconscious mind. Let's start with something that might sound a little out there, but stick with me. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you're drawn to someone in a way you can't really explain? Maybe it's the way they move, or the sound of their voice, or even just the way they look at you. It's like there's something in the air, right? You might not be able to put it into words, but deep down, you feel it. Here's where it gets interesting. A lot of this attraction can be driven by unconscious factors. Our brains are constantly processing information, often without us even realizing it. You might be subconsciously picking up on subtle cues, body language, tone of voice, micro-expressions that influence how you feel about someone. It's not always conscious, but your mind is absorbing details that can shape your perception and create a sense of connection. For example, you might find yourself drawn to someone who smiles a lot, even if you don't consciously think, oh, that person is smiling more than usual. Your brain is picking up on the fact that smiles are associated with warmth and approachability. And when someone feels approachable and friendly, we're more likely to feel safe with them, which makes them more attractive in a deeper emotional sense. And here's the kicker. It's not just about what we see. It's also about what we hear. The tone of someone's voice can have a surprisingly strong effect on attraction. Take this, for example. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone whose voice just puts you at ease? Maybe it's soft and soothing, or maybe it's warm and confident. It's not necessarily about what they're saying, but the way they say it. There's a reason why we often associate a certain voice with comfort, trust, and connection. It's a subtle, almost invisible force that pulls us in. The role of confidence and how to cultivate it. Now, let's talk about something that comes up in almost every conversation about attraction: confidence. If you've ever been attracted to someone because of the way they carry themselves or the ease with which they handle themselves in social situations, you're not alone. Confidence is often a major factor in how we feel about others and how they feel about us. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't just about looking confident on the outside. It's about feeling confident on the inside too. And trust me, confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you can work on, just like any other skill. Let's take a moment to unpack this a little. Think about someone you've been drawn to because of their confidence. Maybe it was their posture, the way they stood tall with their shoulders back, or the way they spoke with conviction. That's what we call exuding confidence. But beneath that exterior, there's usually something even deeper happening. The most attractive people often have a certain level of self-assurance, not because they think they're perfect, but because they've accepted themselves and their imperfections. They know their worth. It's easy to look at someone with high confidence and think, I could never be like that. But the truth is, confidence is a skill you can develop. It's about starting with small things, like making eye contact in conversations, standing a little taller, or practicing positive self-talk. Confidence is built over time, and it doesn't require perfection. In fact, it's often the people who can laugh at themselves or embrace their flaws with grace that become the most magnetic. Confidence doesn't mean being perfect. It means owning who you are, flaws and all, and feeling comfortable in your own skin. The importance of shared interests and experiences. Now, let's talk about something that we all intuitively know, but that science backs up too. Shared interests and experiences play a huge role in attraction. Think about the people you're drawn to. Chances are you have something in common with them. Maybe it's a love for hiking, a passion for certain movies, or even a shared sense of humor. Shared interests act like glue in relationships, pulling two people together in a way that feels effortless. When you're passionate about something, it shows. And when you meet someone who shares that passion, it can spark an instant connection. It's not just about liking the same things. It's about the way those interests form a bridge between you and another person. They give you a natural starting point for conversation, and they provide a foundation for building a deeper bond. But shared experiences are even more powerful. Have you ever met someone who has gone through something similar to you? Maybe they've experienced the same struggles or faced challenges that you can relate to. There's something incredibly powerful about that shared understanding, isn't there? It's like finding a piece of yourself in someone else. Shared experiences foster empathy, and empathy is a huge part of attraction. For instance, think about how it feels to connect with someone who's been through something you've been through. Whether it's a loss, a big life change, or even just a quirky moment you both experienced. Those shared experiences don't just create conversation topics, they create a sense of understanding and connection that can deepen a relationship in ways that go beyond surface-level attraction. The subtle art of mirroring. Why we like people who mirror us. Here's a little trick that happens in the world of attraction that you might not even notice, but I guarantee you've experienced mirroring. It's the subtle art of mimicking someone else's behavior, and we tend to do it without even realizing it. Mirroring is something that often happens naturally when we're around people we feel comfortable with. For example, if you're in a conversation with someone and they lean forward, you might lean forward too. If they laugh, you might laugh with them. If they have a certain rhythm to their speech, you might unconsciously adopt a similar rhythm. This act of mirroring helps build rapport and creates a sense of harmony in the interaction. It's fascinating because we tend to feel more comfortable around people who seem in sync with us. When we're in sync, we feel more connected, more understood. It's almost like your bodies are speaking the same language without using words. The next time you find yourself feeling especially drawn to someone, pay attention to how you're interacting. Chances are you're both mirroring each other's behavior in ways that create a deeper, unspoken connection. Attraction is dynamic. It changes over time. All right, I know we've been talking a lot about how attraction works in the early stages, but there's one important thing to remember. Attraction isn't static. It's dynamic. What draws us to someone can evolve as we get to know them better. In fact, sometimes the things that initially attract us to someone can deepen and shift over time. Let's say you're in a long-term relationship. Maybe the physical attraction has mellowed a bit, because, let's face it, it often does. But the emotional connection has only grown stronger. The way you feel about someone can shift from that initial, passionate attraction to something deeper, something more rooted in friendship, respect, and shared history. This is why so many couples report that their attraction to each other grows as they get older. They become attracted not just to each other's appearances or the chemistry they share, but to the depth of their emotional connection, their shared memories, and the ways they've helped each other grow. The many layers of attraction. So there you have it. Attraction isn't just about chemistry or the way someone looks or a fleeting emotional connection. It's an intricate dance of biology, psychology, shared experiences, and even subtle, unconscious behaviors that create a magnetic pull between two people. It's something that's as old as humanity itself, and yet it's still one of the most mysterious and magical forces in our lives. As you move forward, remember that attraction is multifaceted. It's not just about finding someone with all the right traits on paper. It's about feeling a deep connection, both emotionally and physically. It's about chemistry, timing, shared interests, and the ways you mirror each other without even thinking about it. So next time you feel that spark, don't just brush it off as a coincidence. Understand that it's a powerful mix of hidden forces at work. And whether you're looking for love or just trying to understand the connections in your life, take a moment to appreciate the complexity of attraction. It's one of the most beautiful parts of being human. All right, so we've explored the many layers of attraction, how chemistry, psychology, shared experiences, and even subtle things like mirroring and tone of voice all play a role. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something that's really important to remember. Attraction isn't about chasing perfection. It's not about being the most physically attractive person in the room or memorizing a set of tricks to make someone like you. No, real attraction, the kind that lasts, is about authenticity, confidence, and connection. And here's the best part. You don't have to be born with some special skill to be magnetic. You don't have to change who you are to be attractive to the right people. The most powerful thing you can do is embrace yourself fully, your quirks, your passions, your unique way of seeing the world. Because at the end of the day, what draws people in isn't perfection. It's realness. It's the energy you bring, the way you make people feel, and the comfort of being someone who is genuinely themselves. Think about the people you've been most attracted to in your life. Chances are, it wasn't just about how they looked, but about the way they carried themselves, the way they spoke, the way they made you feel understood. That's what truly makes someone irresistible. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's that attraction is not just something that happens to you. It's something you can create, not by forcing it, not by pretending to be someone you're not, but by being the best, most confident version of yourself. And the best part? When you focus on becoming the kind of person you'd want to be around, kind, curious, passionate, confident, you naturally attract people who are on the same wavelength. So, whether you're looking for love, deepening an existing connection, or just trying to understand the hidden forces that shape relationships, remember, attraction isn't about tricks or tactics. It's about energy. It's about chemistry. And most importantly, it's about being real. If this resonated with you, if you learned something new today, or if you're just as fascinated by the science of attraction as I am, let me know in the comments. And hey, if you want more insights into human nature, relationships, and the psychology of connection, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Stay curious, stay authentic, and I'll see you in the next one.